thank you for joining me for today's process video, and today is another Scraptember prompt for day 17 and the prompt is hearts. So you can see here I've pulled out my Simple Stories stencil which has hearts all over it, and I'm just blending through with my antique linen Distress Oxide to create a bit of a border that's going to go down the right hand side of a load of strips that I'm going to place on the left hand side of the paper. So just blending those hearts all the way down the page, and then I can start working on my strips. I'm documenting a photo of us in Kefalonia, myself and my children. Ross took the photo and I'm using Vicki Boutin's Where To Next collection. I just thought this would go really nicely with this photo. Lots of lovely blues and greens in there, and you can see the greens of the palm trees in this photo. I actually thought I still had some palm trees left in this collection because there are some in I think it's in the papery pack, but I've obviously used them all, so I couldn't use those this time. But I definitely wanted to create a background of strips here, and I will be using hearts in several ways. So the first way I've used them is to add that background, and then I am going to use some ephemera pieces as well. So as I mentioned, I've just pulled out a lot of blues and greens from the collection. These are all scraps left over from the papers. I've got both the 12x12 paper pad and also the 6x8 paper pad. So this is just a mixture of bits and pieces. And you can see I'm popping some strips over to the right hand side of the page, because at this point I thought I was going to add strips down the left, larger strips down the left that the photo would sit on, and then smaller strips down the right. But in the end I changed my mind. You'll see what I do in the end. But in the meantime, just keeping to cut these strips. Now, I don't measure my strips. They're all around 1 to 2 inches deep, but I don't measure, I just cut. That camera piece is a branding strip, and I cut that in half to use half at the top and half at the bottom. And then I spotted this paper that has hearts on the reverse, so I did consider using those hearts, but spoiler alert, I do actually flip that over and use the reverse side. I just wanted to keep it with the blacks, blues and greens really on this, and a bit of yellow. And those hearts really jarred once I'd got all the strips cut and had a look at how the layout was going. I do like that black grid paper that I've just tucked behind the photo. I wanted to bring some black in just to make the other colours pop a little bit more, and then yellow for the sun. Again, with that piece I thought about using the suns on the reverse of it, but I decided to stick with the yellow. There's another yellow piece, and you can see I've obviously punched bits out of the reverse of this paper, and I'm just trimming down what I can use. So I think I've got more or less enough strips there on the left. I'm just going to work on a few more strips for the right hand side before I decide that bit isn't going to work. So just pulling out a few more pieces, some of the smaller bits, just to add those strips on the right hand side there. You can see there I flipped over those hearts because I just wasn't happy with that at all. And then I wanted to bring in this navy because I noticed that I hadn't used any of that yet. And I get rid of those cameras because, again, the colours were just jarring. Even though they were fairly neutral, I can save them for another layout. It's not a problem. So another little strip on the right, still thinking about that. And that's where I decide, no, I just want to add them to the left. So I realise that these strips are a little bit too wide and they cover a lot of that stenciling. So I'm just going to add another little section to the right of the stenciling that I initially added, just to make sure that that's peeping out from behind those strips. And there we go. So now I'm going to start distressing all the edges of these strips and sticking them down using my ATG gun. So I start at the top here. Oh, I don't strip them down, that's right. First of all, I just position them. So I'm just going through and adding each strip. I think about using those words, but again, I do flip it over and use the clouds. I don't know why I was so determined to use the reverse side. I'd chosen the papers that I liked, and then I just seemed to want to put them down in a different way. I think I was scared of missing out on something that I should have done. So there they are, all positioned. So now I'm going to start gluing them down. I start at the bottom and move upwards, and then as I get towards the top, I stick the top piece down and then work downwards, just to make sure that everything is covered and that I don't run out of room when I get to the top, because it would look odd if it was the last piece that didn't look quite right. And you can see I've offset some of them from the left-hand side so that some are slightly in from the edge of the card. And then I spotted this journaling card that says explore, and I thought that was absolutely perfect to add my journaling on. And this is where I decide that I'm going to add that to the right hand side and not worry about adding strips to the right hand side. So now all those papers are down, the edges are roughed up, and I've just added glue down the middle of each of the strips. I'm going to come in with these gorgeous 49er Market stitched washi tapes that I've had in my stash for a good while. I think I've been hoarding them actually. I think I was worried I was going to run out, which is absolutely ridiculous when you look at how much there is on each of the reels. So I'm trying to start using these a little bit more on my pages. And they really do add a different dimension to these strips. It's all about layering. As you layer things up, you get different textures and dimensions on the page, and that's what really helps to make it more interesting. So just choosing a few of the different reels to add these strips, so it almost looks like they've been stitched on. And I'm making some of them shorter than the paper strips that they're going on to, and some of them longer than the paper strips that they're going on to, again, just to add some interest. So bringing in this black one with the white stitching now, so I'm trying to even that out across the page so it's not too concentrated in one section. Just adding a bit down there and slightly overlapping that other one that I'd stuck down already. And then I think this is where I reach in. Oh no, it's still going with these washi tapes. And you can see I'm just tucking them behind the cardstock to make sure that they're secured, rather than trimming them off along the edge. So now I want to add this card, and I'm going to distress all the edges and stick that down, and then that washi tape that I've got to the right hand side is more hearts. It's got hearts on it, so that's the second item from the prompt of hearts today for Scraptember. So while I'm sticking that down, please don't forget to check the description box down below to see the playlist of everybody who's playing along. There's lots of video, lots of inspiration there to help get your scrappy mojo going. So do go and check that out and give people some love. If you watch their videos, it's so heartwarming to see comments or even just the thumbs up that people give on videos. It's really nice to see that. So do go and have a watch and possibly find some new people to watch as well. So I'm working on the photo now. I'm just going to add a small white border around the edges. If you've watched me before, you'll know that I really enjoy doing that to my photos. It just gives them more prominence and makes them pop a little bit more. And then you can see I pulled out the paper pad initially to choose some papers to layer this onto, but then I spotted this piece and it's got these lovely dots on a green background that works nicely. So I'm going to use that side for the first mat. Now this is the border strip, the branding strip, and I didn't want to waste that when I saw it was that lovely stripy in the colours that I've been using. So I'm just going to add that as another layer, and then I'll work on the mats. So first of all, using this green with the white dots, and I'm offsetting that to the right hand side of the photo, and then I'll bring the same paper in again because it's got this lovely I don't know, ledger I suppose, isn't it, on the reverse. So I'm just going to use that as my second mat. So I'll distress the edges again of those, just in keeping with the rest of the layout. I don't go too crazy on the distressing, just a little bit, just to add a little bit of interest. And then stick that down to the photo. And then do this exactly the same with the other piece, but this I'm going to offset onto the left-hand side of the photo. So once again, just very lightly distressing those edges. Almost there. So gluing that down, and then I can get the photo stuck down. I just think that that's a little bit, the borders are a little bit too big on that piece, so I'm just going to move it down a tiny bit and then trim off the top. Obviously distress the edge again, and I'm much happier with that. So I can get this stuck down. I decided just to go straight down onto the strip, so I have plenty of glue so that it sticks nicely. And then I'm going to start embellishing. So I start with the chipboard pieces, and straight away I see the ship, and we were on a cruise, so that was perfect. So I'm going to add that as the start of a cluster at the bottom left-hand side of the page. There we go. And then a little heart again. So that's my third heart that I'm using. And then this strip that says places I would like to visit. It was of interest to me, Kefalonia, because it's one of those Greek islands that you often hear people talking about. So it was great fun to have seen it. Not somewhere that I would necessarily choose to go back to. Nice though it was, Greek islands aren't really my thing. We love Italy as a family, so it was really nice going to Italy and Sicily. But it was fun. It was fun seeing the Greek islands as well. So now the titles, I'm going in with the puffy stickers and I'm choosing travel notes, just so that I can write my feelings about going to Kefalonia. So I start by putting it up here, but I do move it down to that other place that I'd tried it out on when it was on the backing sheet. So you can see there, I decided that it would be better down here. So just popping that down there. And then I'm going to use the puffy hearts that are on this sticker sheet. So that's the fourth lot of hearts, I think, that I'm adding now. So it just shows that you can make a page with lots of hearts on without going overboard and it looking like there are lots of hearts on it. Just wanted to bring in that orange arrow to point to the photo. I just thought that was really nice. And then I'm bringing in this JD 3D print wood that he does for Hey Little Magpie. So first of all, the sunglasses, and then that circular element again with a heart cut out. So that's number 5. So just getting those glued down in place. Think about putting that circle on the right, but I do move it back to the left in the end. Just tucking it underneath there. So another heart. This is a from the Bits and Pieces collection from Hey Little Magpie, a little green gingham heart. And then I want to add my tab to the top of the photo just so that I can add the date there. So I'm just going to glue that down. There we go. And then some ribbon loops. I do love my ribbon loops on the left hand side. Just filling in that little cluster there a little bit more. So first of all, this ribbon, and then I found another ribbon to add to it as well. Some tickets from 49er Market. I love these navy blue tickets. They were just sitting on my desk, so I think I'd missed them from a previous layout. So just tucking those in to build up that little cluster there. And then I look through my drawer to see what else I have, because I've got lots of bits and pieces in a little set of acrylic drawers on my desk. So I'm trying to go through it there and just see what other different elements I've got to add. And I've got this lovely suede smiley face. Again, we sell them in the Bits and Pieces at Hey Little Magpie. And then this suede heart is, I think, number 6 or 7. I've lost count now of the hearts that I've added to the page. So I'm just going to tuck that underneath that chipboard piece. Once again, those hearts are in the Bits and Pieces collections at Hey Little Magpie. So this is a little anchor. It's from one of the cut aparts. I think it was from Hey Little Magpie again. I think it was the Heidi Swap collection that I used that from. And then finally, I had this leaf that I cut for a previous layout and didn't use. It's from the Hey Little Magpie dies, the long stem leaves. And I just thought that looked really nice. There's a little bit of something on the right-hand side. As I didn't have those palm trees, I thought that would work. So I just glued it to the edge of the photo, and then I'm just adding some foam strips behind, well, some foam squares behind the leaves, just to keep it on a level with the rest of it, because the photos on all the textured paper, it's quite raised. So these foam pads just help. And then once those are down, I'm going to add some gold splatters, and that finishes the layout. Just adding a little bit of foam behind that, places I would like to visit chipboard piece, because that was sagging a bit. And here I am with that gold paint. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this process and it's giving you some ideas. It's a great one for using up scraps of a collection that you've got, because you're just cutting strips in the widths that you've got available to you. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye.